on, guys? Welcome back to Pure EVil MMA. I'm your host, as always, Evil Eddie, just wrapping up Ultimate Fighter Season 27, Episode 8, that went down just minutes ago. Thanks for tuning in. Before we start any bit of this podcast, make sure you guys subscribe down below here on YouTube, also iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, and you can find all the latest updates at mymmanews.com. Tonight had so many moments where last week really lacked. I mean, last week we were at the edge of our seat. We saw a great stare down go down between the two guys. One guy was out of Conor McGregor's camp, the other guy being Zuniga or something like that. He was so upset that he wasn't able to get the fight. Dana White's like, you know what, listen, man, I understand you need the money. I'm pretty sure he gave him some money for, considering it a finish, which he's done before in the past. And I was a little worried about this season. I didn't know how much love Dana was going to really feel for this season, because he's kind of really feels like 1 foot in, 1 foot out of this season, because we all know there's only one season left. So I feel like that excitement has really died. But going into tonight's fight, guys, we had Tyler Diamond going up against Delaney. Now, Delaney was talking all this smack, hyping up so much about all the possessions that he had. Even when he was going back to home, he was like, check out all this money. Suman dressing up like him. I mean, there was just like a weird vibe going on in this episode. But then DC's like, he's like, Delaney, we saw him sparring with Sage Northcutt online. We're like blown away by it. But at the end of the day, it's just so weird, because when you see a guy like this, kind of similar to Kobe Covington, where he's putting on this action, even Delaney saying in this episode, he was like, forget being a good fighter. He's like, I'm an entertainer. And I think tonight when he got punched, he was even saying, like, once I saw that blood, man, it was unchanged. And obviously, if you watched in the episode, you know that Tyler Diamond ended up winning because Delaney tapped. Now, going into that first round, Delaney looked pretty good on the feet. I mean, he had like a jump kick, but then he got nervous. I don't know if he was trying to overperform, tensed up. I mean, he's the only one that really knows what happened to him in there. Also, Tyler Diamond, 9-0 from California, king of the cage, global KO champ, 6 finishes, 5 TKOs, 1 submission. I mean, this guy, all these guys are undefeated. But Delaney, when he was like, once I saw blood, man, I was like, do you really want to be a fighter? Like, all right, you're 9-0, and this is something that the fighters are even talking about. They're like, I mean, I don't think Delaney's 9-0. I can't remember Delaney's record, but even when the fighters got there, like, yeah, all these guys are undefeated. And you look at people like Zuniga, who has a bunch of fights under his belt, but you don't know who these guys are fighting. That's the thing. So you don't know, even though they have a nice record, doesn't mean they're fighting guys that are as talented as you are, as have been the levels and places and have the fight IQ that, you know what I'm trying to say here? So Delaney, as soon as he was like, in that second round when I got cracked and I saw the blood, backstage when he was explaining what happened to him, it felt weird. It felt like, this isn't for you, man. Like, I don't know. He kept saying, like, I'm a hustler, I'm this, I'm that. Even I was just watching him on Tough Talk, and he was stuttering on there. And I'm not trying to throw shade at Delaney, please. I'm really not. What these guys do day in and day out is so inspiring. And I understand Delaney's point of view, because I try telling fighters all the time. I say the same thing all the time. I'm like, you have to be a great fighter, but you also have to be an entertainer, like Delaney was saying tonight. But it comes with a limit. And even DC, when he's coaching him, and there he's kind of he's on the other team, but he's breaking his balls because he sees right through Delaney's act. Like, he knows what Delaney's trying to do. But when you get locked inside the cage, it's a different story. Things are different. And we saw that tonight. We definitely saw that tonight as Tyler Diamond, the number 1 seed, did what was expected. And he was landing some hard, heavy shots on top of Delaney, where Delaney was just, he looked out of place. He didn't know what to do. He froze up. I mean, there were so many people that were looking forward to see what Delaney was going to be able to do. And then he gets it, the first round being a 10-8 round. And then the second round didn't even make it. I mean, you could tell the look on Delaney's face in that first round when the coach was like, 3 minutes. You could just tell that he was defeated in those moments. And then going into the second round, you're like, all right, fresh start. He's going to start on his feet. Let him keep the distance. And immediately, in the corner, they're like, you need to keep your distance, walk around. Even the fighters, when they're giving their predictions of who they thought was going to win this fight, most of them picked Delaney to take this fight. They thought that he was going to make Tyler Diamond work, make him run, chase after him. And Delaney fed right into Tyler Diamond's game. He literally fed himself to Tyler Diamond. That's what I saw tonight. And with all the hype, with him calling fighters out to go outside to fight, and now that he has a loss, I don't know if they still have liquor in the house, but I would guess that now that Delaney is lost, he loves talking. I'm not going to be surprised if he's going to start some issues in the house. So also there was some more good news on this episode of Ultimate Fighter. So last week, if you guys have been paying attention to Pure EVil MMA, I had Jay Cuccinello come on, and he was talking about what happened last week on the show, which was, all these guys that are on Team DC that are winning their fights are actually getting injured, and it could go to. I see everyone on Twitter going, "That's the AKA." They're overworking these guys on the Ultimate Fighter, and it's rubbing off now on the show. You're seeing all these guys get injured and pulling out, getting cramps and whatnot. And you be the judge of that. I don't know if it's necessarily the way that they're training or if they're going too hard. I don't know exactly what each specific issue is. I mean, they're fighting and they have to recover very quick. And they're also going through weight cutting. And when you're dehydrated, your body's not going to be able to recover that well. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I'm not the guy to tell you how the body works, but I can just tell you, being in a house like that, being away from your family, being away from your friends, no cell phone, no internet, all it is 16 guys in one house, and they're fighting for the way to the top. And some guys get distracted and lose sight of what the ultimate prize is. And it's funny because some of the last picks on the show, like DC was reminding us tonight, like Kelvin Gastelum. And if you look where Kelvin Gastelum is now, I mean, you would never guess from that season of Ultimate Fighter that he would be where he is now. Delaney also being the last pick on the season. No love lost there. There's been a lot of fighters that haven't been the first pick and have ended up going to win the Ultimate Fighter. Be UFC champions. Look at TJ Dillashaw. Maybe TJ was actually first pick. Now that I believe TJ was, but Michael Bisping, also Ultimate Fighter, ended up being champion years later. You never know with these guys. So, the seeds, the rankings and all that, take it for what it is. Each fighter we can see either gets better or worse fight to fight. But in this case, moving forward, with all these fighters injured now, they had to bring two guys back. And they threw it up. Dana immediately goes, I don't want, I can't remember his name exactly. Smolo? Smilo? Smeagol? Smolo? Smolin. Ricky Smolin. It was like, I definitely don't want Smolin back, and I don't want someone else back. And we found out later on in the episode that Suman had a torn ACL, and I messaged him as soon as I saw that, or tweeted him. I was like, man, that's rough. My heart goes out to you. If you guys remember, he was supposed to come on the show. Something happened. We'll get him on for you as soon as possible. But torn ACL, so now he's not even going to be able to compete at all this season, which is just crushing. And he told us, matter of fact, I see the phone flashing behind me. Let me see exactly what he said. Boom, 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 boom. All right, mentioned Suman 24 minutes ago. It's not so much an announcement, but more of an update. Skype in 30 minutes? Ooh. Suman, let's Skype now. Skype now, man. Here. Skype now? Question mark. See if we can get him on to talk about this. Now, I've had Jake Cuccinello on as all, who also, I was screaming at my TV tonight because Jake Cuccinello came on the show last week to talk about what happened where, he lost his fight. Ultimately, he lost his fight, but he went to Dana White. He did the right thing. He was like, this show is opportunity. I'm healthy. I can fight. There's fighters that are out. Please give me this opportunity. And we waited a week, and we found out tonight that they're bringing two guys back. One of them being Jake Cuccinello, and the other guy being Gunther, who I call the Butcher, because he reminds me of the Butcher from the Gangs in New York. Let me try to get Suman on. We got Suman calling. All right, here we go. We'll just do the audio. Suman, what's going on, man?
Hey, brother, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. Stay right there. You're not going to be able to see me, but people tuning in are going to be able to see you. So let me just picture. I'm live right now. So I was just talking about what went down tonight with the fight. So besides the fight, we also found out that you had a torn ACL. Now, immediately the second I heard that, I was like, oh my God, my heart goes out to you, man.
Thank you very much.
What were you feeling when you were sitting there waiting for those results?
Man, when I was sitting there waiting for the results, it was like one of the most nerve-wracking times for me because um, I was pretty confident that I'd come back in the semi-finals. When I'd gotten a chance to speak to Dana White, everything seemed good, and he seemed keen on having me back into the semi-finals, and I wanted to fight as well. And I mentioned that I wanted to fight at 45 or 55. I didn't really care. I just wanted to fight again. Kind of like how Jay said it. Like, he was there to fight again. I was there to fight again. I knew how injured I was, like, not to the point of an ACL tear, but I knew that I was injured. But I didn't care. I was just there to fight. I said, if something's going to break, it's going to break or whatever. I wanted the opportunity to fight again. So sitting there and not knowing if I'm going to go through to the semifinals, not knowing if I'm 100% or if I'll get cleared, that was a heart-dropping moment for me.
Because the second that he told you, it was very clear that you were going to be able to compete this season with all these guys that are getting injured. Like Jay was saying, the show brings you opportunity. Do you think that you're going to be able to get healed by the finale, or you're not allowed to tell us yet?
To be honest with you, I feel like I could fight today. I had surgery, I think it was 11 weeks ago. ACL recovery time is usually like 7 to 9 months. And I was told I wouldn't start training until maybe the 5 or 6 month point. And I've been training for the last like 2-3 weeks. I did have a complete tear. I did get a full knee reconstruction. I did get the graft from my hamstring. It was a big operation. The first couple of weeks were really, really tough. But like every day, I'm getting better and better. Am I 100% right now? No. But would I fight in a heartbeat in that finale? Yes.
So you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said that you tore the ACL going into that fight, not in the fight?
Before that fight.
So exactly how exactly did the ACL tear?
So we were training, and it was nothing big. I remember I was just like drilling on the wall. I got my foot caught in the wrong position. This might have been the first or second week at the Ultimate Fight, or second week probably at the Ultimate Fighter. I just got my foot caught in the wall, and someone went to do a single leg on the opposite leg. My leg got caught, and as it twisted, I just heard like a snap, crackle, and pop, and I just immediately felt pain. After I'd gone to the shower and came out, I realized I was like really, really bad swelling on my knee. And it was a frustrating time. I knew something was wrong, but you try and always stay real positive in those situations. When I had the situation where like the Team DC coaches had came in and seen my knee, I knew that something was pretty wrong. And me going to the Performance Institute was me trying to like fix my problem. So I just didn't want to hear the results. If I didn't hear them till now, I would have still been fighting, however my knee was. I didn't want to hear the results. So I knew something was bad when it happened, but I was just hoping it wouldn't be my ACL, out of all things.
Well, we've seen a lot of guys this season get injured. Do you think it has anything to do with, and I know, the joke around the MMA community is the AKA. The way that they train over at AKA is pretty brutal. Do you think it had anything to do with like maybe training too hard, or what do you think was the issue?
Yes and no. Like, no, we didn't get trained too hard. We got trained the right amount, and I think that Team DC did as well. I think the issue would have been like fatigue. We were all training for a long time, leading up into TUF, and then coming into TUF and trying to keep up that pace, and at the same time keeping our food down and stuff like that. It takes its toll on your body. When you're cutting weight or at all times, your body's not as strong as it normally would be. So I think that kind of played a bit of an effect into it. But no, I don't think that the way they trained us or anything caused this. I think it was just we just had a bad run. We had a very, very bad run of injuries. But that's what the Ultimate Fighter is. like Jay said, it's about opportunities and stuff like that. And these are how opportunities come up for some people.
When they were announcing, like right after you found out about the ACL, you came back to the house and you probably found out that, Jay was coming back. Were you happy for them? Jay, and also who else came back? Gunther. Gunther came back as well.
Look, at the end of the day, someone's got to come back. It's not my journey or anything like that, but I was happy for Jay, and I would have been just as happy for Kyler, and I would have been just as happy for anyone else. And Gunther as well. Like, Gunther has a heart of gold. And I know, like, some people are like, oh, he got choked out in 17 seconds and stuff like that. But the guy trained really, really hard. And, he's there for a reason. He had beaten great guys coming into the show. And, stylistically,
You're good. You froze up for a second, but you're good. I can still hear you.
Stylistically, like, some people might say, oh, his striking wasn't very good or his choke defense wasn't very good, but he was there for a reason. So I guess he'll show you on the next episode.
Do you think Stipe was a little biased with that choice of picking his homeboy Gunther?
Yes and no. I think it would be hard not to be. I know that, Jose was really, really shooting for that spot, and he was really devastated that he didn't get it. But sometimes it just works like that. I can't blame Stipe for being a little bit biased. He really, the two people that he really liked the most, he put through, which was Jay and Gunther. But they obviously did something right for him to want to back him, because you don't want to put someone in a losing situation, I guess.
So
I don't put a fighter into a losing situation.
So the reason why I reached out to you, I mean, me and you have been kind of conversating the past couple of weeks for you guys to come, or for you to come on the show, and I saw that you said that you have an announcement or something like that. What is this about?
No, it's not so much an announcement. Like, I just wanted to, because a lot of people have seen and suspected an injury or have spoken about an injury, and I've kind of always kept it like under wraps. Obviously, I did tear my ACL. Coming into that fight, I fought with a torn ACL, and some people see that as a big deal, and I really don't. Fighters have injuries all the time, and we fight through them. If I had a broken neck, I'd still fight. It's just who I am. I think 10 or 11 weeks right now post-surgery, post-ACL surgery. I had a major operation. My intention, and some people didn't know when I'd be coming back, if I'd be fighting in the finale. You guys will see me fighting again. I cannot say where. But, my intention is to fight with the UFC. Yeah.
What has your brother said reaching out to you? Has he been a big help with helping you heal up? And
yeah, well, that's the main thing that we always say. It's always better, like, if you have another person like yourself to always help you out. And my brother's always there to help me out. Same way I'm there to help him out. He's had his rough times with his fights, and I had a bit of a rough time when I came back, just readjusting to life, and then readjusting to the fact that I've got to get surgery and go through all this again. So having like a support system there and someone to make sure that I'm sticking to my routine for those first couple of weeks, still going to the gym, still being around the fighters and stuff like that has really helped. I don't know how motivated I would have been in those first 4 weeks if I was by myself. Sometimes to myself I said I couldn't be bothered, and he would be the one to tell me to just get up and do something with myself. So that's been a big help.
Being around all these guys for that many days, that many weeks, everyone's cutting weight, everyone's getting irritable. We kind of saw you and Luis kind of get into it in what was it, week 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
What exactly happened there?
Nothing. Honestly, it was like a bit of a miscommunication, and some things the cameras I wouldn't have seen. Like, you would have seen that I was right next to the scale where Delaney was, and then the next part of the scene I was kind of right in the kitchen. But it was just he was frustrated. It was the morning of his weight cut, and obviously I always said or did something to get on everyone's nerves, not on purpose. I was always trying to just, I was always trying to be a bit cheerful and doing like things for a laugh. And I think Luis just wasn't having it that morning. Caught him on the wrong side of the bed, and to be honest with you, I tried to just handle it the best way I could. I said to myself I didn't want to go into the show and try and be one of those guys that was in every controversial scene for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, like a Junie Browning or something.
Yeah, hey, I'm friends with Junie Browning.
He's actually a nice guy. He's actually a really nice guy.
He's a super nice guy, but he got caught on like he is crazy. He's batshit crazy, but he has a good heart, and like the camera caught a lot of bad moments of him. And I wasn't trying to be anything fake. I was always trying to be myself, but at the same time, I was trying to show the respectable side of fighters. We don't all need to talk like that. Like I've said bad things in the past, but as much as we can, we got to remind ourselves to keep a level head. And we're all professionals, and we're all in our house for the same dream. So I didn't want to fight with anyone in the house unless it was in the cage. I'm not the type of person to rile myself up over something that can't be like resolved. I was never going to fight anyone in that house, so there was no point in me yelling at anyone in that house. I might as well just be nice to them. Even with my own opponent, Ricky, the morning of our fight, we were having breakfast together and we were talking about chemtrails and conspiracy theories and stuff like that. My fight time is in the cage. I've done my fighting outside the cage. I don't want to do that anymore.
And tonight, getting into tonight's episode, while we have you here, we saw you get all dressed up and get all swagged out. I mean, that was pretty awesome. You said that was one of the best moments you had there?
Yeah, Delaney 2.0. Fight God 2.0.
Yeah.
It was if you guys look back through some of the episodes, like if you look back on Kyler's episode, you'll see that during his weigh-in, I was wearing a big Kyler beard, and I was trying to look like Kyler as well. I did that when Jay fought. I had like a pair of glasses, and I had like googly eyes, and the reason for that is because he looks like Michael Bisping.
That's great. That's great.
When Gunther fought, me and Vellante had like a mustache on. I always just did that, and I wanted to go all out for Delaney's one because he always wanted to go up one, so I wanted to kind of match him. They needed an Arab fight god in there.
So what were you guys thinking this whole time? I mean, you guys are meeting Delaney for the first time. He was the star episode tonight, and we all watched that fight. I want to get your take on that fight, but what was everyone's take on Delaney going into this fight? I mean, what did you think? Did you think that all the talk was going to pay off in this fight, or what did you think was going to happen?
If you guys knew, when we did the TUF trials, there was an MMA junkie interview. And Delaney was one of the guys that jumped in front of the cameras and said he doesn't lose and he doesn't do this. And then the next clip is actually me at the TUF trials, and I was talking shit about Delaney, saying, all these guys that are talking shit, they're eventually going to lose. Someone's going to lose. And he got a bit offended by that, so there was a bit of tension when me and Delaney got into the house. But he's actually like a super, super nice guy. He was a roommate of mine. And getting to know him over the season, I actually learned that he's quite an intelligent guy. I realized that he knew that he wasn't the best on the show. He knew that he was not the best on that show. He didn't believe half of the things that he was saying, but he had to try and do something. He had to try and do something to get into the mental side of the other fighters. Just so happened he went up against Tyler, who's super mentally strong. He
number one seed.
Sorry?
Wasn't he the number one seed, Tyler?
Yeah, he was the number one seed, and I think that took a lot of pressure off Delaney as well. He's like, oh, no one expects me to win. So he kind of went with that and really enjoyed it. But Delaney, he'll learn, he'll get better from the experience. I know a lot of people are going to be ripping on him because he said he didn't lose or something. But at the end of the day, he was something that whether you wanted to see him win or lose, you still wanted to see him. And that's how he looks at it as well.
You know what? I agree. Before you came on, I was saying exactly that. Like, you have to be a well-rounded fighter, but you also have to understand how to market yourself. And I think Delaney caught a lot of people's attention. Like you said, there's going to be people talking about it. That's the whole point. You know what I mean? Win or lose, people are talking about him.
Even if he gets a shot in the finale and he fights again, people will watch him and they'll watch him to get his ass kicked. But that doesn't matter because you, as a fighter, I feel you are only as valuable as the people that are watching you. If no one is watching you, then what's the point? Like, I know that people want to fight for money and stuff like that, but you want people to watch you. Now, same with me. When I fight, I want people to watch me, whether they watch me because they want me to lose or whether they want me to win. I want them to be one or the other. I don't want indecisive, not indecisive fans, but people only watch you when they're decisive on whether they want you to win or lose. If no one really cares about you, if you never say anything, then you're not getting viewers, you're not getting paid, and the business isn't running.
In the fight tonight that went down, we saw Delaney in the first round kind of have a little bit of success in the first couple of seconds, kind of keeping his distance, but then he threw some like wild jump kick and then tied up. What was your take on that first round?
When he did that, I went crazy. Because like I've heard people say to me like, "Oh, why don't you just go into a fight and like just like jump for an armbar or jump for a good, like just keep going for submissions and stuff like that." I'm like, "Oh, because I still that at the game of MMA, you shouldn't pull guard and end up on your back. You know that an alpha male guy is going to be strong on top, and you know that he's going to have like good control and good pressure, good ground and pound. Why would you put yourself in that?" Delaney's road to success was keeping it standing, and I think he just panicked. It's a bit different than someone going for the shot. He panicked and pulled guard, and I think he didn't know what to do in the situation, and he probably would have rather lost by decision than been finished. So I think he thought he could take more damage from the guard.
Before we let you go, in that second round, Tyler hit him with a really nice shot, and immediately Delaney dropped. Do you think at that moment was kind of the moment where he was like, "I can't take this fight," and kind of mentally gave up, or what did you think? Because backstage he was like, "Once I saw blood, something changed."
Yeah, I think that he really never seen himself bleed before, and that kind of put a shake into him. But I don't even think it was so much the blood. When he got caught in that choke, he wanted his way out. Like I said, he's a super nice guy. I really like him. I just think that he was never going to win that fight against Tyler that night.
So before we let you go here, where are you right now? Are you at home, overseas?
Sydney, Australia.
Let's take a little 360 really quick, just around. Where are we at? Your bedroom right now?
Somewhere in the background. He's just cooking for himself.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and that's my backyard somewhere out there.
So right now it's actually the morning time. So does it air over there the same time, or does it air tonight?
In Australia, we get it on UFC Fight Pass, and we get it like an hour after you guys. So 1 p.m. on Thursdays. Right now it's Thursday in Australia.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's about to be Thursday here in America in about 7 minutes. Suman, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to talk to you again before the season's over, and we'll talk to you around finale time. How's that sound?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Bye. So there you go, guys. What a pleasant surprise from Suman. I mean, if I didn't just pick up my phone, we would never even know one of the contestants would be joining us. So, guys, make sure you guys follow Suman at Suman_ATT. Obviously, he trains at ATT with his older brother, who's also a UFC fighter. So that was awesome that they were able to get him on the show. So that wraps up the Ultimate Fighter Season 27 talk. Last but not least, I know you guys are waiting for me to give my rating on tonight's episode. I'd give it a good 9 out of 10. Now, usually I'm joined by Ted Check. Unfortunately, the past couple of weeks, seems like Ted's been tied up with some personal things, which I totally understand because I've been on the end of the boat. But no worries on that end, because he didn't. I don't even think you saw last week's episode. And going into last week's episode, I was like, Ted, you're never going to believe what happened. Something that's never happened before in the Ultimate Fighter. And obviously, he didn't see the episode, and it's a little hard to catch up at this point. So we'll have to catch Ted up. So make sure you guys tweet him and tell him to get his ass back on next week's episode of Tough Talk with Evil Eddie. So I give it a 9 out of 10. So moving forward, guys, this weekend we have UFC 225 that's going down, and this card is so stacked. Let's just take a look. You got CM Punk going up against Mike the True Jackson. There's a lot of people out there that are actually leaning towards CM Punk winning this fight. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think a lot of people are underestimating Mike the True Jackson. And, he's had some boxing experience. I believe he's a Golden Glove boxer. But at the same time, I really wonder how much CM Punk's grown in 4 years. Because you got to remember, he's been training with Duke, around guys like Woodley, Bilal Muhammad, some of the best. What's been going on there in the past 4 years? Because when we talked to Bilal, he's telling us that he's schooling guys like Showtime, and all these guys are repping for CM Punk. Even after he lost, they're still like, no. In the gym, this guy's wrecking dudes. And we see this a lot with fighters where they could be awesome in the gym, but when they show up to fight, it's a different story. CM Punk, now that he's got the octagon jitters, you're going to hear a lot of people talking about that. I think that's a factor in there. Same with Mike the True Jackson, though. And the thing that bothers me about Mike the True Jackson and that fight with Mickey Gall the first time around, get caught mouth. Time for a Monster Energy drink. But it really seemed like, and you've probably heard this before, it seemed like he was just doing his job. He was going in there, and ultimately he knew that Mickey Gall, the UFC probably wanted Mickey Gall to win, and he was just going to be in there to do a job, which was go in there, put on a fight, but lose, without saying it. So I feel like Mike the True Jackson really took one for the team when he fought Mickey Gall. On this end, if CM Punk wins, does the UFC bring him back? That's where I'm confused. That's what throws me. That's all that's on my mind about this. If he loses, fans will go crazy. Not only is there already a guy who's 0-1 going up a guy who's also 0-1 on a UFC pay-per-view card, or if you break it down, it's a 5-fight main card. Pay-per-view is about $60, $65. You're paying about $12 a fight. You're paying $12 to see CM Punk, who could lose in a matter of seconds. But then again, I think Mickey Gall is a lot better than a lot of people anticipated. This is going to be a better fight for both Mike and CM Punk. I think this could go the distance. And I think CM Punk, as long as he gets those little moments, those little highlights, that's all he's looking for. Ultimately, he's going in there just to have a good time, to live out a dream, and not for it to get sucked out in a matter of 20 seconds. I think Mike the True Jackson, this is what I can kind of see it, can compare it to. If you guys remember The Ultimate Fighter, season 22 with Tom Galicchio. Tom Galicchio ended up losing that season, I think, to Ryan Hall. But then he gets a shot back at the redemption season. And he's currently now doing a podcast with my buddy Rodney James Edgar. But in the finale for the redemption season, you had James Krause going up against Toothless Tom. That's kind of what I see here. I think Mike the True Jackson is more of the, and you guys might be mad that I'm giving him that much credit, but I can see the levels about that. I see, I can just see Mike the True Jackson keeping it standing up, picking apart on the feet, letting CM Punk have his fun, but at the same time keeping up with the points, which is also a dangerous thing to do because CM Punk might have a trick up his sleeves. Who knows? Which is crazy. All right, let me move forward. Andre Arlovski versus Tai Tuivasa. Now, Tai Tuivasa, I've been watching this guy before he was in the UFC. He took on James McSweeney. Tai Tuivasa, 9-0 right now, coming to the UFC with a win over Rashad Couture 5 months ago. And then 3 months ago, he got that win over Cyril Asker, which was, it's just crazy. This guy is huge. He's 6'2", 263 pounds, 25 years old. He's going up against 40-year-old Andre Arlovski, who surprisingly enough right now on a 2-fight win streak. 27-15 record for Andre Arlovski. Now, this is going to be a tough step up for Tai Tuivasa. However, Andre Arlovski has looked pretty good. Enzo Torres checking in. Enzo Torres, you got a Donald Trump comb over. I'll take that. That's good. That's a good one. That's a good one. But you guys are all going to get flagged. There's other shows. There's other shows where you guys can go bond. You don't want to hear about this MMA news. You don't want to hear about MMA opinions. You want to talk bullshit. You want to waste time. I don't got time to waste. I got money to make. If you're going to be doing this, donate some money. What are you doing? You guys are all wasting my time. I'm down. Call me down. You can call me Trump. That's fine. Andre is a bitch. I think Anthony's a bitch. Anthony is a snowflake. That's all I have to say. And I will check out of the chat room. All right, so moving on. Andre Arlovsky, look at said, 40 years old right now. But big step up for Tai Tuivasa. If he can beat somebody like Andre Arlovsky, you're going to be talking about top 5. I mean, Andre Arlovsky in his last 5 fights, he's 3-2. He's always up and down. But lately, being 40 years old, he hasn't looked bad in his last 2 fights. Let's see who his last 2 fights were against. He was able to get a win over Stefan Struve in a decision. And before that, Junior Albini. How could we forget the diaper fight? But both those fights went to decision. I don't see this fight going to decision at all. Still no odds in yet for any of these fights. I'm going with Tai Tuivasa to take this by knockout in the second round. Then we got Holly Holm versus Megan Anderson going down. Honestly, Megan Anderson, I know a lot of people go back to a fight that she had against Cindy Dandios. You know, that was about 3 years ago where she lost in a submission triangle choke. But since then, going on a 4-fight win streak, 7-2 record. You know, after that loss, she got a TKO finish over Amber Leiberg, and then a win over Amanda Bell via KO, kicks and punches. Then a win over Peggy Morgan, KO. Then a head kick finish over Charmaine Tweet 1 year, 4 months ago. It doesn't feel like that fight was that long ago, but you know, Megan Anderson, she was supposed to come over for a fight, then got held up. Something happened. I don't know if it was her visa, her passport, or what was going on with her, but there are no contenders at 145 pounds. It's a shame. Even if she loses, I feel like she would still be next for Chris Cyborg. I mean, Holly Holm clearly lost. I mean, unless we bring Jermaine Durandamy back, there really is nobody else to fight Chris Cyborg. This is, I mean, do they give, if Holly beats Megan, do they give Cyborg that fight again? It means like that means in the last 5 fights that Holly's had, 3 or 4 of them have been title fight. If they then go on to give her the title if she wins this, that's crazy. Who gets that many title shots? How many times? I mean, to play fair, she's only fought the Cyborg once. To play it fair, that was a huge fight. Did go the distance. In this fight game, we like to see a clear winner. But on this fight, I think Holly Holm takes it. I don't know what to expect from Cindy. I don't know what to expect from Megan Anderson at the UFC level. You know, when you step out there, you smell the Vaseline, you smell the popcorn, and you hear the screaming drunk fans, and you see the young kids holding up your banner. Shit gets real. Look what happened to Jose Shorty Torres this weekend. Now, you can compare the level pretty equally to Titan FC. The Invicta girls, I mean, compare it how you will in your mind, but stepping up to that UFC level, Jose Shorty Torres on the Titan FC cards, he's the double champ over there. Even went up a weight class, had a tough fight, ended up coming back to win it. Then he comes over to the UFC, gets pieced up in that first round, 10-8 round. I was so nervous last weekend for UFC Utica. Somehow, by the grace of God, gets the win because his opponent knocks himself out. Megan Anderson, I think she's going to have some trouble with Holly Holm. I feel like, you know, even them throwing her up to, I feel like the UFC, maybe they're doing her a favor. Let's face it. I think the UFC is doing Megan Anderson a favor by not giving her Chris Cyborg immediately. I mean, giving her Holly Holm immediately seems brutal enough. But like I said, there's no one at 145 pounds. So what are you supposed to do? We want to see Megan Anderson come over to fight. And I'm sure as hell it's going to be a great fight. No way do I think this is going to be a one-sided fight at all. Don't get me wrong. But I do think Holly takes this probably in a decision. It would be amazing. I would love to see the perfect scenario for this fight would be Megan Anderson shows up, knocks Holly Holm out cold in the first or second, submits her, whatever. Her thing's knocking people out. That's the ideal scenario for Megan Anderson. Will that happen? Probably not. Has it happened before in the past? Yes, it's happened to plenty of people before in the past where the things just lined up perfectly. Conor McGregor. But he didn't just step up to Jose Aldo. He built his way up from Brimage to Holloway to Dustin to Seaver to Mendez, then to Jose. They didn't just throw him in there. Megan Anderson, though, I mean, she's facing girls who've been in the UFC. So maybe it's fair to say that the level of competition has been right, has guided her right up to that, to be ready to face somebody like Holly Holm. I can actually see that. You know, if you look at some of the other girls in the division and look at some of the girls that Megan has wins over, they're pretty close. Pretty close. Still, I'm going to be siding with Holly Holm, but my heart got Megan. But we all know if you're going to be putting any sort of money down and your heart and your mind aren't on it, don't bet on it. I'd put 5 down. I got 5 on Holly Holm. $5 on Holly Holm. That's what I'm going for. And I will be updating you guys with the rankings. The odds as well this week on Twitter. Let's move up. We also got RDA versus Colby Covington now. This is a cool thing. I finally see it coming full circle. I interviewed Colby Covington about 2 years ago now. And at the time, Colby Covington was campaigning for a spot to fight RDA. Now, at the time, nobody had any idea who Colby Covington was. I don't even think he was on the rankings, to tell you the truth. He was making his way up, man. I think he was coming off that fight with the spinning back fist. What fight was that? Well, he's been clever since I talked to him 2 years ago about this RDA fight, and he got him good. I don't know if you guys remember, but he made a fake Gmail account where he allegedly hacked into RDA's Gmail account, and there were emails from RDA to your favorite being like, "Hey man, where there's some good tanning beds," or he messaged Dana White being like, it was clever. It was clever. And I even asked him, I was like, you didn't make that. You didn't make that. Who made that for you? He was like, no, man, I had that. That's RDA's email. He stuck to it. He stuck right to the point. Look at this. I've been looking jacked lately. Check that out. That's that 5 a.m. workout. Just admiring for a second. But yeah, RDA versus Colby Covington going down. I would love Colby Covington to win, but I think RDA got this one. I think RDA has advantages all over the place here. On the feet, wrestling at the same time. Oh, man. Colby Covington, man. His energy. Is that something that RDA is going to be able to handle? Let's see what we got here. Let's check out Tapology. So let's see what Tapology's got. You guys on Tapology are voting for 72% think RDA is going to take it. Most of you guys think it's going to go to a decision. 28% with Covington via decision. And I could also see that happening as well. But here's the other thing. Going back to Colby Covington's fight with Damian Maia was piecing up Colby on the feet. If RDA doesn't worry you, Woodley will. If you see what Maia was doing to Colby, and let alone, I know Colby was trying to defend takedowns, but he got pieced up by Damian Maia. There's no denying that. Let's see what RDA is coming off of. He's coming off 3 wins. So he's got that win over Robbie Lawler in decision. Before that, beating Neil Magny with a submission. Blew through Neil Magny, by the way. And then a win over Tarek Saffiedine via decision. Before that, lost to Tony Ferguson. Before that, lost to Eddie Alvarez. You know, the loss to Eddie Alvarez 1 year, 10 months ago. RDA was the champion at that moment. And I guess backstage he was having a hard weight cut. So he was dehydrated going into that fight. This was also at a different weight class. And he got knocked out. So then RDA changed his weight classes. He's looked better. He's looking better at this weight class. He looked amazing against Neil Magny. Maybe Colby Covington can get the win on this one. Maybe I will go with Colby Covington. You know, looking back at Tony Ferguson versus RDA, what Tony Ferguson was able to do, bounce around on his feet, keep the distance. I think Colby Covington can emulate that. I mean, there's been a blueprint somewhat. I mean, going back, RDA has lost to Jeremy Stevens way back. Oscar, stop. But 72% of you guys are going with RDA. I don't know. This is a tough one. Colby Covington, 13-1 right now. How confident he is. I think I'm going to go with Colby Covington, guys. I know a lot of you guys are going to be pissed I'm going for that. But I'm putting 5 on Colby. All right, that gets us into our main event. Robert Whitaker going up against Yoel Romero in the rematch at 185 pounds for the championship, the middleweight championship fight. Now, Yoel Romero, he is coming off a win, but before that, there is a loss on there, and that loss was to Robert Whitaker. Like I said, this is going to be the rematch. Robert Whitaker is just on a killing spree. I mean, a win over Uriah Hall. After that, he beats Rafael Natal, Derek Brunson, Jacare Souza, and then the most recent one 10 months ago against Yoel Romero. Now, he also has Yoel Romero fresh in his head. He's already gone in there training for the fight against Yoel Romero. So it's doing the same thing all over again. He's already beat him, so the confidence is already there. If anything, the heat is on Yoel Romero, who's now 41 years old. But at the same time, Yoel Romero looks better than ever. I mean, last year I had a guy on named, I can't remember his name, something Rodriguez, Dr. Rodriguez, we'll call him. And he specialized in concussions. He came on and he was talking about Yoel Romero and how the physique of him and how healthy he is compared to other people his age and why that is. And if you look at it, how Yoel Romero has been able to come into the game later. I mean, early on in his career, he was a wrestler. He wasn't beating his body up inside the octagon, inside the cage. In later years, he looks like he's 33 years old, not 41 years old. In that first fight, to be honest, I had Yoel Romero. I thought Yoel was going to go in there and take it. Robert Whitaker was able to, he had a torn ACL in the first round. He tore his ACL and was able to come from that torn ACL from behind to get the victory on the judges' scorecards. That's championship mentality. As of right now, I do not see any ranks or any odds, but 75% of you guys on Tapology.com are going with Robert Whitaker and 25% with Yoel Romero. This time around, I got Whitaker. I think the confidence is there, the game plan, the blueprint to beat him is already there. You know, he already beat him with a torn ACL. If he's healthy this time, if he's going in at least 90%, he should be able to get the win. Where does Yoel Romero go on from there? You know, if there's one thing I'm upset about with Yoel Romero, I'm not that excited about this fight. I wish Yoel Romero fought Michael Bisping. That's the fight I wanted to see. If you guys have been living under a rock, Michael Bisping retired last week, and we'll never be able to see that fight. I thought that would be the retirement fight for Michael Bisping. Unfortunately, medical issues got in the way. He has oil over his eye because he has a torn retina, I guess. And for them not to damage it anymore, they had to put oil over his eye. And unfortunately, now he's losing sight in his other eye. So this has pulled him out of his fight career. So we will never be able to see Yoel Romero going up against Michael Bisping, but we're going to see him going up against the young set of Robert Whitaker. What do you guys think is going to happen in this fight? I'm going for another decision, most likely. I don't think he's going to be able to get the finish. But then again, Yoel Romero, he's so explosive. Look what he did to Chris Weidman. That crazy knock, that flying knee knockout. I'll never forget watching that. What was that, UFC 205? No, Yoel Romero went over Lyoto Machado, went over Jacare Souza, and a win over Chris Weidman with that flying knee 1 year, 6 months ago. Was that? I swear that was UFC 205. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's got to be. No, because if it was UFC 205, UFC 205 went down November 12th. Yeah, it was. Chris Weidman, flying knee. Jesus. Yeah, wow. It's that long ago. But besides that, the only loss for Yoel Romero is against Robert Whittaker. I'm sure he would love to get that back and to be champion. My pick might change too. As we get closer, this is why I enjoy watching the UFC embedded leading up to it. And if you guys have been watching, you should be so pumped to watch the Colby Covington versus RDA. The way the RDA is dealing with these, like, hey man, it don't bother me, man. Colby Covington is ripping it up, and I'm sure there's people sending numerous death threats. They were supposed to have this fight down in Brazil. They didn't have it go down in Brazil because all the death threats that Colby Covington was getting. Last time he was there, he was calling the Brazilian nation a bunch of filthy animals. You got to remember, it's part of the entertainment business. Unfortunately, this day and age, MMA, it's part of the entertainment business. Chael Sonnen says it all the time, and it's the truth. Look at Delaney tonight saying it. You got to be able to back it up, though. That's where people like Conor McGregor excel. If Colby Covington can beat RDA, even in the decision, there's no way that Woodley can't fight him. He has to be next. The other thing is Darren Till. You throw Darren Till in the mix as well. I've heard people out there in the MMA media scene saying, screw the interim belt. Throw Darren Till up to fight Woodley next. I'm not down for that. You got to show some respect. If you're having these interim shots and these interim fights, I mean, originally we were having interim fights to sell pay-per-views, and those pay-per-views did very shitty. We really didn't need an interim belt on this card. We have an active champion. It doesn't really make any sense. So if you're looking at it like that, yeah, I guess. But at the same time, if the UFC is giving an interim title out, respect that, follow the rules. The winner of this fight will fight Tyron Woodley next. No ifs, ands, or buts. Because it feels like Dana White's been pulling a lot of these funny games where, let's go back to Tyron Woodley at UFC 205 versus Wonderboy. Whoever won that fight was supposed to fight GSP next. Woodley won, but it was boring as hell, and they pulled it away from him. So you in this fight game, you can't rely on anything. Somebody can get injured. You never know. And that's another thing. I see another trend going on Twitter. You guys are making sacrifices to the MMA gods so that nobody gets injured. Giving your tap out hats, your Velcro wallets. It's too much. You guys are too much. I cannot wait for UFC 225 to go down. I'll be giving you guys a prediction show later on this week. So it's Wednesday going on Thursday right now. So today I will give a full breakdown of my UFC 225 predictions. You can catch that on my Instagram page. I'll just put it up on a sheet, or on my Twitter page at evil_echo, or on Instagram at Pure EVil MMA. Guys, I hope you had a great night. I'm Evil from Pure EVil MMA, mymmanews.com. Make sure to subscribe down below. Also, I'm launching a new campaign for anybody that wants some new merch. We got mugs, we got t-shirts, whatever you guys want. You can get socks. Also, I just mailed out a whole bunch of giveaway prizes to you guys if you are following along on Twitter or Instagram, social media period. You should be getting some in the mail in the next couple of days. If you received the tweet where I said, send me your address, I sent out about 15 altogether in the past 2 weeks. Also, the UFC Pickem rankings. Let's do a quick update on that. before I sign off here. So in case you guys don't know, every week or every time there's a UFC event, we do our predictions on the UFC.com app. And we have rankings. And if you win 10 fight nights in a row, you win a free tee. And we got Iceman well on the way. I think he just got 5, matter of fact. MMA pick doing well. Let's see what we got here. So our overall ranks right now, standing. In first place, we got Iceman. In second, Minion. In third, Ship Pirate 12. In fourth, Chillzone 95. In fifth, The Perpetrator. In sixth, True Q Mental. In seventh, BLT. In eighth, JR Casimir. In ninth, Salem X 1976. In 10th, J Cruzel 76. 11th, MMA pick. 12th, Barry 413. 13th, Mean Gene. 14th, Andreas MMA. 15th, PMC Pat. 16th, Wicked Ways 1972. 17th, MMA Metalhead. 18th, yours truly. 19th, Leslie. And 20, Life's Good. So that's our top 20. For last week's event for UFC Utica, in first place, The Perpetrator. In second, BLT. In third, Andreas. Fourth, Life's Good. And in fifth, Ship Pirate. So congratulations, guys. Another mark for another fight night. UFC 225 going down this weekend. Man, my birthday's coming up, so I'm really excited for these next couple of weeks. There's a lot of great events going down. Bellator been going down as well. Me and James McSweeney from The Ultimate Fighter Season 10 and a UFC veteran are starting a new podcast as well. Also, I just got this new book by Cody Nola of The Pact. I'm going to start reading this and give a review on it on the website at mymmanews.com. I want to thank our guest tonight, Suman Mokhtarian, for joining me, who was on tonight's episode of The Ultimate Fighter, and on the season of Ultimate Fighter, older brother is in the UFC. So that was a surprise. How about that? That was awesome. You know, thank God I checked my phone. Things work out pretty good. Ted Check, unfortunately not able to join us tonight, guys, but make sure you're also following him on Twitter at Ted Check, that's TEDCZECH, and on Instagram at Ted Check, that's TEDCZECH. Last but not least, guys, behave yourselves.